This is a public service announcement. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are for comedy purposes only and should not be taken seriously. The Never a Straight Answer podcast advised that the information covered in the show should not be used for educational purposes, nor as a guide for carrying out such crimes linked to the subject matter of the episode, no matter how fucking awesome it is. Gaz and Taylor do not take responsibility for the following: UFO encounters or possible linked abductions, committing or being a victim of serial murder, falling down conspiracy rabbit holes, fits of psychotic rage, anger or confusion, or going postal on friends, family or co-workers. The boys advise the use of THC or edibles when subjected to the Never a Straight Answer podcast. We hope you enjoy the show. You finished rustling around there?
No.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Never a Straight Answer, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joined for the first time in a fucking very, very long time.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hell of a long time.
Long time.
It's Mr. fucking Taylor.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the studio, sunshine.
Yeah, man, I'm back.
Whoa, well done. I mean, to be honest, it's good to be back, is it?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're back. It's been such a long time since I've had a bit of company.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah.
Cheers for risking it for a biscuit.
Well, I risk my life, mate. You know what I mean?
Risk my life for this podcast and our listeners.
Yeah.
Byproduct of this week is there will be no video on the YouTube.
No.
Well, there will be a video, but it won't have our luscious faces.
No, not this week.
Which isn't a big problem. I mean, at the end of the day, but it's, we will be returning to the video format at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. As special instances, such as important events.
Yes.
And special occasions. Yeah. And guests and potentially.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out and do subscribe over on the YouTube.
Yeah.
But speaking of special occasions, it's been quite a day today. If you've been catching, I mean, obviously this goes out on Monday.
Yeah.
On Monday the 2nd, I think, is it? Monday the 1st? I don't even know. Yeah, Monday the 2nd. Yeah. So goes out on Monday, but the launch of SpaceX.
It's the first, isn't it?
Oh, well, whatever. You don't.
31st?
Yeah, the 1st. Goes out on the 1st.
Now.
Do apologise. Well, anyone listening, as it's already happened, hasn't it? Because this is the 31st today.
Yeah.
And if you did catch it, it was pretty epic. SpaceX and America launches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
another one. Yeah, after the failed one
well, this was the
day.
first one with actual passengers this time.
Yeah.
Blasting off into the atmosphere and beyond. Off to the International Space Station.
2 but could carry 7.
It could carry 7, yeah, that's right. I mean, I've got to say, very impressed with the spacesuits and whatnot this time round. I think, like, in terms of style, they're very much like Space Odyssey 2001. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems to.
They do look like, I mean, with all the white, it's like, that's how a spaceship should look. In my book.
Yeah, well, you don't want to be disappearing, do you? And you have a black suit. You can go out, where is he?
What you think it's for, so they can spot them off at a distance.
Yeah, because imagine one of the tethers go.
True.
And they start flying off.
He's over there.
Yeah, then you go, we have a little bit of a problem. The thing is, he's wearing black and his background is black. That's why we have problems with black holes.
That's it. There's the thing about space is it's black.
Yeah.
And the thing about spaceships is they're black.
Yeah. Just reminds me of the Red Dwarf.
Yeah, it's definitely a Red Dwarf moment.
Yeah.
So it's really good to have you in the studio, as most of the listeners will agree. What have you been up to this week? You're looking very dapper today, by the way.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, he's spruced himself up.
Yeah, well, you've got a
business time.
Yourself. Yeah.
So business time.
Get me head into the game.
Get in the game, dressed to impress.
Yeah.
Get your good shoes on.
Yeah,
sweet. So have you been up to? Been out and about? Now the lockdowns are starting to ease up a little bit.
Not really. I've just been learning new stuff and
learning stuff. Yeah. Now, bearing in mind, even though Taylor is in the studio tonight, we are still
apart.
We're still maintaining a 2 meter social distancing thing. Yeah. Obviously, no hugs or any high fives. No. It's just being sheerly like, all right, mate. Yeah, all right over there. Yeah. And
I'm in the fucking kitchen again.
It's nice. Like I say, I think we'll get into this a bit later on in terms of whether it's a good idea to ease the lockdown just yet, or could they kind of be, heading for a bit of a fucking wet fish in the face?
Well, yeah, proof is in the pudding.
Well, we'll see, because I like pudding.
Yeah, I do.
Been baking this week.
Have you?
Yeah, I did a bit of baking.
Oh, yeah, I saw your cakeys before.
Oh, mate, so I think I've had a few people go, ooh, that looks all right, that didn't, but it's dubious, isn't it? Because, I mean, it's like I've already had a couple of people going, what's in it?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go and put some... Well, no, this is the thing, the company I keep. Yeah, right? You get people complaining that there is and people complaining that there aren't. Well, so it's like, well, should I make 2 cakes next time and then get them mixed up by accident?
Well, yeah, just tell them you got it from the shop, first off.
Say, do you like this delicious looking cake?
Then tell them, I made that myself.
Well...
And I went to the toilet, didn't wash my hands.
and I've just recovered from Corona.
Yeah.
Well,
put a smile on the face there.
Fucking hell, you'd run a mile, wouldn't you? It's been a bit of a mad week. We're going to go into the more details later, but I mean, fucking hell, hearts going out to people of Minnesota and Minneapolis this week.
Yeah,
it's just been fucking crazy, and all that on top of the Corona pandemic. Yeah, it's fucking... I mean, I'm not sure. We'll go into it a bit later on, but, we are thinking about it. And, I mean, in terms of talking, we don't want to kind of go into it excessively much, because, I mean, it's still going on, and I'd like to kind of be able to talk about it objectively and know all the details. So, we'll go down them roads. But we'll talk about the bits we know about later on.
Yeah.
But other than that,
what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I've had a pretty productive week, I will be honest, right?
Oh.
I need to get motivated. I need to get my sleep pattern under control, because, you never know. Could be back to work any minute.
I'm trying to get that, and it's getting there.
No more 4 o'clock in the morning stints on Call of Duty Warzone. Maybe 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock. We'll wind it down. You can, it's
hour by hour.
It's a progressional thing, isn't it? You can't just go diving out of the deep end. You need to, ease yourself back in.
Yeah.
So, been trying to get my sleep pattern under control, which has been great. And then the summer weather is finally here in the UK, which has meant that garden weather, innit?
Hottest summer in
on
history.
Record. It's always the fucking way, isn't it? Again. I mean, we think we've been hitting about 25, and it's been really nice. Like, if not a little bit more. Was it 28 today?
28 the other day.
Well, like I say, I mean, I opened my back
Scotland
door.
had a wicked day yesterday.
My back garden was a bit weedy. It was a bit kind of
get the clippers out.
Overgrown. So spent a few days doing the garden up.
Yeah.
Then got to enjoy it sitting in the back garden, but did do me back in a little bit. Getting down and dirty, getting up them weeds.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You've been relaxing for a while.
I know.
So
that's the thing.
Been
slouching around, and then you start doing a bit, and you start pulling stuff. So everybody, I hope you've been keeping up with your physical fitness regimes while you've been off.
No.
I fucking haven't. I tell you that. I started with all good intent. I did.
Definitely
I honestly did start in all good intentions.
Yeah.
Of doing it. And I have been doing it every other day.
But rest is as good as
that's true.
It out.
Actually, rest is good as a holiday. Well, whatever the phrase is.
Rest is as good as a
as good as that. Yeah. Well in.
So
what else? So did a bit, like I say, done a bit of gardening, done a bit of baking.
Yeah.
Been for a few walks.
Yeah.
What else? Watched a bit of kind of just trash TV, really, and and tried to kind of do some bits that I've been putting off. So getting back on the horse as such. And I think, to be honest, it's like I was explaining this before, weren't I? I mean, in terms of like trying to, when your routine suddenly changes, even stuff that you could be doing,
can't be asked,
it gets thrown out of whack, because you'd fit stuff in around it, so it'd be when it was convenient for you to do. And then, like, because your routine's gone from busy to TV, it's like you're sleepy, I'll put it on the later base, and I'll
got enough time through the week.
Yeah,
I can do it.
I'll watch these 2 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'll make a coffee, and I'll think about it. Like, basically, is the way, isn't it?
I'll go back down, watch a bit more telly. Make another coffee, then I will do it.
Then I'll definitely think about getting dressed.
Then have a nap. Then get up, watch a bit more telly.
Oh, them afternoon naps. I'm going to miss those siestas. Anyway, well, we're talking like it's all over. I think for a few people who have gone back to work.
Yeah.
Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know how you find it. Are you worried? Have you got anxieties about returning back to work?
Are you glad you've gone back to work? Are you glad
is it thank fuck I can get out of the house? Or is it kind of like
fuck I wish I was in the house?
Do you think that they're protecting you well enough? Do you think that your employers are
if they're not, why aren't you doing anything about it?
Doing everything that they can to make you feel safe in the workplace and returning back to work? Because there's been a lot of kind of people saying, oh, it's not time. Who knows? Kids going back to school, they're mucky little pups as well. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. But then again, there's
not all of them.
No,
but they do get nits.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And they're not bothered about social distancing, are they? Really, kiddies?
No. If anything, they want to
fighting over. Well, this is the thing as well. It's like all this. You've been socially conditioned to share. For years.
But now you've been told
no sharing.
Yeah,
it's like we're going to end up. This is literally going to raise a generation of selfish bastards. He was like, I was taught not to share as a child. Because of viruses.
Well.
So no, you can't touch. No, you can't use my toothbrush.
They're trying to say it's going to become the norm like this, and it's like, no, if it comes to norm like
normal,
this, then
I've heard this bandied around a while. The new normal, and it's like the new normal. What is this? So basically, if you're not allowed to, interact with
go
people.
To work, come on, go shop,
at your risk.
On,
turning people into a drone, basically. And it's like, I think we've got a really good episode coming up in a couple of episodes.
Yes.
Which is, I think, quite interesting. And we'll elaborate on that a bit more at a later date.
Yes,
we will. Going forward, let me just light this up. One second.
Light up some more, light it. Ah, sweet light.
I needed some energy. I needed some fucking fuel for the engine. Right, well, going into the episode, normally when we start the show, as always, we look at a different area of the world, different location, and ask, what's fucked up where you're from? And this week's no different. Yeah, we're travelling all the way to Australia.
Yeah, it's a bit fucked up in a minute.
Blimey, what's fucked up? Well, not only have they had like kind of weird, they're another one. It's like not only have you just recovered from like major fires, then floods, got hit by a virus, what next? Well, we got kangaroos have taken over the streets again. This is another Australian story, but animals coming back and reclaiming cities, and we've seen a lot about this over the corona epidemic, actually, haven't we?
That's true. And all that
makes me wonder why are they coming in? Is like obviously foraging for food, but what's happening in their natural environment that's drawing them into the cities? Is it just curiosity? Do you know what I mean?
I think not, because they're seeing no one there. If there's no one there, because certain animals are going to be in.
What's happened to all these humans, Cobber?
Yeah, so you get the brave ones in, don't you? Go on, your fault. You were our leader.
That's how we ended up domesticating dogs, because it was wolves. You'd get the odd brave wolf who would come a bit closer to the campsite and get scraps. Yeah. And then the others learned that, if they were a bit more subservient, then they'd get a bit more food. And they were getting nice food as well, cooked. Yeah. So it was like they'd be a bit more raised. Obviously, the ones who were eating well were surviving, and the ones who weren't going up to the camps were, dying off. So you ended up with a species of animal which was more domesticated and loyal.
Yes,
which was literally, this is the thing, isn't it? People go on about genetic inbreeding and stuff like that, but all dogs are bred from wild animals. There is not one dog that exists that is a a naturally behaving animal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We've domesticated it.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy. Anyway, going forward, we're travelling to Australia. This is an anonymous request.
Yep.
For what's fucked up where you're from. And as always, we look into the fucked up goings-on and paranormal activities in a certain area. Now, Australia, Victoria in particular, has got quite a lot going on.
Okay.
Just kind of have a look now. So the first place, which is the Launderelle, the Launderelle was first imagined in imagined in 1938, a way of a state government to replace the outdated mental hospital. Or the Kew Mental Hospital.
Right.
2 years later, it was under construction with World War II
advancing.
So for the next 5 years, various uses were used for the building.
Yeah.
So in 1946, the Launderelle was given to Victorian Department of Housing for emergency accommodation.
Fair enough.
Then it was used in 1949, but as a housing unit, continued to be used as a housing unit until 1949.
Yeah.
But over the next 4 years, the Launderelle was slowly populated with patients from the Bleachworth Lunatic Asylum.
Okay.
Yeah, which was basically they had to evacuate it due to fire damage.
Yeah.
And then in 1953, it was officially declared a hospital for the mentally ill.
Okay. Yeah.
So by that stage, they had 387 patients, a quarter of which were women. And then 2 years later, 8 additional wards were opened, allowing another 360 patients.
Right.
270 of which were female. So it was quite a high number of female patients.
Yeah.
So for the past 5 years or so, it's been abandoned because he closed it back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it's been basically a playground for those fascinated with thrill-seeking, what are they called now? Urban explorers, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the paranormal investigation teams have been in there, and said that they've heard banging on the walls. They can hear, they've heard like screaming. They've had odd smells, sounds of children crying.
Children, but it's
what?
So but did they have children back in the day there?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, it could be like young girls. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
it's like
even
kind of issues like kind of mental illness. Do you know?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, but I would have thought they would have.
They weren't well diagnosed.
For children.
I'm not sure, to be honest. Even like a 16-year-old girl, screaming, or that could be mistaken for a child crying. I don't know.
True. Yeah.
Well, there's a rumor that there was a little girl who died on the 3rd floor. Basically loved her music box.
Yeah.
And on the and on this day, there claims that the internet that randomly what's that? Claims on the internet that random explorers have heard music playing. So, obviously, urban explorers have been in there and they've claimed that they've heard this music box. There's been many different accounts of paranormal activity occurring, and the complex itself is spooky. Well,
it was a housing unit before, so there could have been children.
Yeah, there could have been kids there. If it was a
true.
housing unit before, there could have been definitely deaths.
Yeah,
and then obviously they've changed it, and it's had several uses.
Yeah,
so, and don't forget that it was emergency accommodation as well, wasn't it? At first during the war.
Yeah.
So
there's going to be accidents and
accidents will happen
as well.
Well, there you go. That's our first outing into the spooky world.
Spooky place.
The old Geelog Gaol. How's that? What's that say?
Gaol.
Gaol. Yeah, the old Geelong Gaol. Yeah, was first occupied in 1853.
Ooh.
And was the base of English Pentonville prisoners.
Oh, right.
So it was built as built by convicts who were housed in the ship hulls.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So when we sent the prisoners over, then they needed to make their own place.
Right, the gallows.
Yeah.
Oh,
so then
right.
you'd go in there.
So the gallows.
Yeah.
Was operated by high security prison, a high security prison unit.
Yeah.
And was demolished in July 1991.
Okay.
Or decommissioned, sorry.
Right.
In 1991.
Yeah.
Little's changed about the Geelong gallows since then, of course.
Apart from a bit of rust.
Some exhibits of the past obviously are still there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a bit of a museum now.
Yeah.
Prisoners who were held in small, unheated cells with no sewerage facilities at all, up to 14 hours each day. Past inmates have reported hearing female cries at night, especially in the East Wing.
All right.
And basically have said that when it used to be an industrial school for girls in the 1860s.
Right.
So the tour guides have reported whistling on several occasions, including swirling mists and general weird feelings. So the site has been visited by various paranormal research teams, and it's been reported that strange mist sounds, EMF disturbances, orbs, mediums, and other spiritual people with sensitivities have been in and have been employed to go in and check it out, and have reported the presence of various spirits at the gallows. And the old infirmary cell of 45 in the gallery, in the gallows, is exceptionally haunted, as well as the shower blocks.
All right.
Oh, I bet them shower blocks are haunted.
Yeah.
I bet there was some atrocities.
Some screams.
So the gallows is operated now by the Rotary Club of Geelong, who run guided tours at the weekend for holidaymakers. Ghost tours runs every weekend, and it's become a place that many claim is haunted by its own dark past.
So if you're near there, go and visit it.
Check it out if you're going over to Oz. Do you know what I mean? What else have we got? So there's loads of urban legends and stuff as well, actually, going in there. But they've got quite a lot of stuff with mental hospitals as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was looking into him, there was the Alderdale Mental Hospital, which had a bit of a kind of similar story to the first one.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, yeah, here's a good one. Jack the Ripper lived in Melbourne.
Well, we don't even know who fucking Jack the Ripper
this
is.
This is it, you see. But this is it. They've kind of twanged onto the old Jack the Ripper conspiracy or
trying
theory.
To grab hold of our shit, man. What the fuck's going on?
Hold your horses. We haven't caught him. Yeah, or we have. They're basically saying that there's an underlying theory that the most notorious killer of the streets of London ran to Melbourne to start a new life.
Well, there was a saying that it could have been a Polish sailor who actually...
There was actually... I mean, we're going to have to do a Jack the Ripper episode one day, because there's actually conspiracy to say that it was actually the king at the time as well.
The King's Doctor.
Oh, the King's Doctor.
The King's Doctor, yeah.
Well, there was some royal sort of connection. Yeah, definitely.
Some kind of prince.
I thought he was a prince or someone royal.
No, he was higher up.
Well, we'll go into that. Well, other than that, he absconded from Whitechapel and obviously made his way to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper then took on the name Frederick Bailey, deeming that he start a family of his own. This family was short-lived, however.
Bastard.
Deeming was caught after murdering his wife.
What the fuck?
So this is what he changed his name to, Frederick Deeming, and obviously Deeming got fucking done because he killed his wife.
I suppose it depends how he killed his wife.
But in the same way that the Whitechapel victims had been killed.
Copycat?
Maybe.
And if he'd done it before, then yeah, possibility. But if that was his first one, he's all on the proof of was he in London at the time as well. Well, there's a possibility. Like we say, we'd never caught him, so you know what I mean. It could have been several different people, but the way it was done, it was all the it must have been the same person because of the way they've done it.
Right. Okay. Got this story here. I'm just checking it out first before we go into it. But it's basically saying that hang on, let me read it out. So they're telling about the Crown Casino morgue.
Okay.
Right, so the casinos are obviously an acquired taste.
Yeah.
They are something that not everybody should like, and everybody should do. Used to legally steal rich people's money fairly by giving them odds of winning something or greater value than what you put on the table. Casinos are things that people who have a lot of money and spare time go to, right?
Yeah. House always wins, man.
So, what of the people who have little money or nothing spare? Well, some casinos would humbly ask for you to leave after taking off your clothes and chasing you out. Yeah. Some casinos would have you settle the debt in court, obviously, if you had a debt with them.
Yeah.
And some would just have you organs as a
down payment,
a mode of payment.
Yeah.
And apparently that's what's been happening. So rumours are going around that casinos around the world, none of them as terrifying as the urban legend of the Crown Casino in basically Australia, Victoria, Australia.
Yeah.
Stories tell you of the morgue hidden underneath the casino to accommodate dead bodies, since the Crown Casino is the home of a lot of seniors who have bad gambling habits.
Yeah.
With high stakes, and they're basically,
literally pay, or you will be a high
paying,
stake.
or you're getting your kidney taken out,
well,
or your liver removed.
But it still happens to
How
this
does
day.
it go? How much would that go on the open market? I mean, it's like, would that settle your debt? It depends, really, I suppose.
Well, put it this way: there was a morgue that got caught about 10 years ago in America. And the vein from the bottom of your leg to the top, 80 grand.
Right, okay.
And they were selling them eyes. They were selling all sorts of bits of body parts. But it's been going on for fucking years, mate. It still goes on to this day. I remember stories of like, not just solely this place, but like Turkey. There was a thing going on about how people were getting drunk and then taken down the alley. Then that drunk that. You'd slice them open and take out a part of them, and then...
Oh, I've heard about that. I mean, I've heard
off.
About people like, fucking hitchhiking and, like, waking up in a motel bathroom. With a fucking...
With fucking stitches. Like, what the fuck?
Well, that's if they're nice enough to give you stitches. Do you know what I mean? They don't have to do fuck all.
Yeah.
Get roofied.
Yeah.
Next minute you fucking
Easily
wake up,
done.
You're like, what the fuck, I'm bleeding out. You know what I mean? It's like they're not arse. They've got their fucking trophy in a freezer, in a cold box.
The thing, though, the Western side doesn't help by, like different companies. Like, if I was to try and sell that as a company, I can't tell my competitors how much money it's going to cost me. And if I talk to you and tell you the price, you've got to promise and sign a document saying that you won't tell anyone else the price I've sold it at you.
Yeah, because
sold it at you 40 grand, but down the road, I've sold it for double that.
Oh, of course, yeah. But I've just got it for half price, so I'm not going to tell him.
Yeah, but you don't know.
But you might brag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. This is how they get caught out.
I got a mint deal.
Big money.
Go down there. It's like, what do you mean? I went down there.
Yeah. But don't forget as well, you've got all the slave trade of like human trafficking and child trafficking. Wow. And that. I mean, some of these.
Told you, someone said that to me the other day. You're a slave or you're nothing. And I think you agree with that, don't you? In some ways. Well, here's another thing about in Perth. Yeah. There's apparently a Satanist group that are operating. According to one of the Australian urban legends, in Kings Park, found in Perth, is home to a bunch of Satanists. It probably is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Not to the extent that this is going on, but the rumour is help boost the tourism in the area. The legend started when they were an occasional homeless people found dead around the park. People say that the Satanist group were obviously responsible for the deaths and the murders for their Satan powers.
Yeah.
Satan powers.
Devil Lord.
Yeah. Get the fucking
Moloch.
Yeah, man, doing a bit of fucking, like, a bit of sacrificing.
Yeah, there's the sacrifices.
He's homeless. No one would fuck him. He must be a virgin.
I remember one in London not that long ago where someone was found. A child was found in the Thames. There was a sacrifice going off, and it was like,
that's what it was.
Fuck? Yeah, no. It turned out that
I've seen a couple. I mean, there's a few on YouTube where like you see some hooded figures come in, and there's someone filming it out the window, and it's all a bit like, what the fuck are these guys doing? And they're all having a bit of a chant and stuff. Yeah, and it's like it does go on. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And these people who do, like subscribe to that sort of, these people out there who read and take up those teachings. I'm not being. It's like I'm not being funny, but if the Jedi and the Sith existed, they'd definitely be Sith. There'd be people out there going, man, I want to get the Jedi side. I want to be a badass.
Yeah, majority would go probably the good side, but you're going to always get that 5%
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, there's always... And I don't think there's the lines between, good and the devil and God... It's like it's so kind of it's getting so blurry now, where it's like, well, I think most people would agree that it's like, well, all the good stuff's kind of the naughty stuff that I'm not supposed to have. That's the shit that I live for the weekend for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and but it's I suppose what's at the end of it, because what's it they say, like the devil will lie to you. Yeah, but if the devil lies to me and at the end of it I know I'm going to get something.
It's all about. It's all
the devil
about.
Can lie to me as much as he fucking wants.
But is he good? But this, are you going to get something? Or are you go? Because you've said this to me in the past, where about wish fulfillment. If you want to listen back to our Free Wishes rant, I'm sure it's in an episode somewhere where we was discussing wishes and like I seem to remember you say something about. It always comes to bite you in the ass. So, and especially from the devil, I'd assume that if anyone was going to fucking try and twist it and make it, fucking, wait a minute, there's a catch here
there's always
somewhere.
A catch,
right? Then he'd be the guy. He's not going to be, he's a slimy car dealer, man. He's like going,
you're selling
hey man, do you want to buy this?
Devil.
Do you want to buy this Supreme Deluxe model?
Yeah,
and it's like,
you can have it for
meanwhile,
but there's always a great but I suppose it depends where you stand.
Well,
and if you thought about it before you actually signed the agreement,
I don't think. I just think I've always said this: if you've got a belief, no matter what it is, and that belief gives you hope, and gives you strength to get out and live another day, then you crack on. Do you know what I mean? As long as it doesn't hurt anyone.
Well, yeah.
Now, do you know what I mean? If you're, I hope if you are in Perth and you're a member of a Satanist group, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.
We'll talk to you. Let's have a little chat. Let's see what you actually do.
That goes for vampires as well as So,
and don't forget Bigfoot as well. If he's out there listening to us, any aliens?
He's a subscriber.
We'd love to talk to an alien.
He is. Well, as always, we look into the paranormal investigation teams.
Yeah. Who have a few over there.
Who walk the beat in these areas, like fucking
looking for that weird shit, man.
What was that show called? The Bill.
The Bill. That used to be wicked. That.
Boom, 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 boom.
I can't believe they got rid of that.
Well, these paranormal investigators of paranormaladventureaustralia.com definitely do.
They do.
Yeah, and they're out there fighting the front line.
Fighting the ghost back.
Proton packs on.
Yeah.
Fucking PKE meters out.
Boo-boo.
So the Paranormal Adventure Australia is a dedicated team in search of answers to what lies beyond the veil of life and death. The team consists of experienced paranormal investigators who some possess gifts.
Gifts? What, you mean like presents? Or
they become bearing gifts, frankincense and myrrh. Good point.
Yeah, they got telekinesis or telepathic.
Well, they do have a psychic medium,
right? A
sensitives and empaths. I'm not mocking you guys. Actually, I actually do believe I'm quite empathic.
Yeah.
To name a few, but we have qualified nurses and healing specialists on the team also.
Okay.
We're closely associated with some very talented and naturally gifted psychic mediums, healers and paranormal investigators. Our aim...
I've always thought they've all got to get together at
I think
a
this
point
is it.
and,
This
like, work together.
These guys have basically formed the Avengers of the paranormal
Well,
world.
yeah, if you think about it, yeah.
They've got like fucking Professor X.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got fucking Neo.
Yeah.
They've got all the best guys. Yeah. It's like they picked first in picking, right? So, not blowing trumpet or anything. We're not sponsored.
We'll learn more if we.
So where were we? Right.
Get together.
Their aim is to explore, study, and capture evidence.
Yeah.
Of spirits.
Always the aim.
We know that they exist, but we know little about them.
It's true.
So we'll be sharing their experiences and findings as they go on, and to the public and the paranormal enthusiasts. To join us at Paranormal Investigation Nights, which they run, and get additional information, go over to the website, which is www.paranormaladventureaustralia.com, and they'll hook you up.
Sounds like the
and that's
team,
it.
man.
It's like, do you know what? It sounds like an adventure, so I suggest you follow their adventure and get involved.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Sounds like you were saying that like I said,
I'd love to go on a paranormal hunt again. If anybody out there who's a ghost hunter, I've said this since we started the podcast.
Yeah,
I'd love to do an episode on a hunt.
On a hunt,
do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
if you're out there and you're interested in getting us on, I mean, do you know what? We never actually tell these people that we're featuring them. Maybe we should.
Yeah,
I
think
too
we
much
should.
work.
Let them find out themselves.
Yeah, maybe they'll just come across it one day, won't they? And it'll be a nice little surprise for them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're
good like that.
We're good like that. Whoa. We didn't even tell the folk at home what we're talking.
What
we're talking
about.
What we're talking about tonight. Yeah.
What's that then?
Well, we're talking about time travel paradoxes, especially in movies.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of movies that touch upon the time travel genre, and they've got their own little spin on it. So, we're going to go into that just pretty much now. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I normally give you a bit of an insight at the beginning, and I do apologise.
No, we're not going to do it this time.
Well, like I say, right. So, in films, as I say, I mean, I'm a big fan of time travel movies, right?
Yeah, and I like to question where certain things on it.
Well, anyway, I'm fucking jumping way ahead of myself again, right? I just had a brain fart, that's what it was. Because if you want to get in touch and get involved with what's fucked up where you're from, you can email us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.co.uk. And, is it .com? I always forget. Just go over to the website. It is .com. Go over to the website at neverstraightanswer.co.uk.
Yeah.
And you can email us through the contact us site. If you've got an area that's got some urban legend or folklore or paranormal parts, and even investigation teams, then get in touch and we might feature them on the show. And, basically give you a shout out as well for getting involved.
Yeah.
And that's it. See,
that's all you're getting.
That's all you're getting. Right. Well, but like I say, we are doing the show tonight on bit of time travel stuff. Yeah. He says 36 minutes in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Without telling them before.
Well, basically, right. I was watching Endgame recently, and there's that scene where they're talking about the time heist. Spoilers if you've not seen it. But where have you been, living in a cave?
Yeah. You know what? I've seen it twice at the end, but I've slept.
I have fell asleep twice, to that film a few times, I've got to admit. It's not boring.
No.
It's a bit drab at the beginning.
It's a lot. It's a long film, isn't it?
It's like, oh man, I see Captain America sat in a support group for 20 minutes talking about how he's coping. Do you know what I mean?
And he's coping well.
He's doing all right. He's just learning to live day by day now. Do you know what I mean? That's
what you're going to be like when you've been an ice.
No, he's got that on top of losing 50% of his mates.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So, but there's a scene in Endgame, and they talk about science and time travel. They talk about science and time travel, and they list a load of movies. Yeah, and talk about, well, what's the right method? What is right when it comes to time travel? And they basically say, Back to the Future is bullshit.
Right.
I ain't having that. Not having it. Right.
Why are they saying it's bullshit? Well, what parts of it? Because there's a lot to it.
So most time travel movies, or the concept of time travel until very recently was dependent on the butterfly effect, if you like, right? So if I was to say travel back in time, I could kill Hitler, right?
Yeah.
For example, that'd solve everything.
No.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, you're going into someone else will take his place territory, but let's say they didn't for now, right?
But someone would have to take his place.
Well,
or the whole lot would have collapsed, and then he.
Well, no, because it would never have got to that point because he never existed to spur
Oh, if they
things
killed
on.
him before,
killed him as a kid,
like if he was in World War
Yeah,
One.
exactly. So you go back in time, you kill Hitler as a kid,
right?
Job done. Yeah, you've saved millions of lives.
Not necessarily. It could.
Do you think that if you know that's how kind of time travel paints it in films? You know, you go back to your normal point in history and everything would have changed around you.
Yeah.
Right. Now, to an extent, now Back to the Future is one of my all-time favorite films. Right.
Yeah,
and I've watched it. I'm embarrassed to say that I have lost count.
You've married the fucker.
On how many times I've watched that trilogy. Yeah. Right. Now, I had a bit of a realization, something dawned on me based on how time travel works. And now in Endgame, they turned around and said, Back to the Future's bullshit, right? Because how they explain it is, it's not, you can go back and change things. And when you return to your point of origin, then those things would have changed around you. But not necessarily. All you would have done is like the many worlds, or like a branching off every action as a reaction.
Yeah.
And if you're basically making a decision in the morning whether to have cornflakes or toast, both those decisions would have been played out in one part or another, right?
Yeah.
So Endgame turn around and say, well, if I travel back in time, then that is still my future, right? And when I travel back to my point of origin, it's just the future that it's not going to have changed anything, It would have been still the future of the past that I had, right? Whereas they're explaining it as it would break off and create a new timeline,
Yeah, because different mind is taking control of that aspect of, like saying if you killed Hitler, well, Hitler might have gone, but someone else might have read that book and thought, oh,
well,
you know what?
Of course,
Let's
I mean, there might have been an alternate timeline where it all kind of went fine and job done. There could be another timeline where somebody steps in and it's 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? By changing something in the past doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to affect your future.
Better. It could end up worse than it ultimately should have been.
Yeah. So, but it made me think of something, because obviously my brain jumps into the defense of Back to the Future when someone says that the science and the time travel method and the thing was, quote, bullshit. Yeah. I had to kind of start thinking about this, right? And I've come up with a logical conclusion, right?
Okay.
Now, it all hinges on Back to the Future too. Right, so looking at the science as it's presented, right? They say
go for a little, just in case someone hasn't watched. Back to the
so if you've never watched Back to the Future, where have you been? Living in a cave somewhere?
Must be.
Right. Okay. So Back to the Future is a story of a boy who has a friend who's a scientist,
Doc,
who's a 70-year-old gentleman for some reason. Yeah. Right, and he's a teenage boy who rides around on a skateboard. I don't know what the relationship is there.
Looks like a pedo.
Right. Well, he could. This is the thing. It's like it's unquestioned. Yeah. Right. So you've got Marty Mcfly, young lad, gets friendly with a scientist who invents a time machine. Yeah.
Yeah, and wants to share it.
Well, his machine's powered by plutonium. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only way he can get it is by stealing it from a group of Libyan nationalists.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he gets it right. But as he's about to fucking sort his experiment out and show Marty, I mean, I'm only assuming you're led to believe that he's only asked Marty there because he needed someone to film it. Yeah. Right. Never occurred to him to get a tripod. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Right?
That's hold on, but didn't it end up at the end where it was on a tripod?
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't. It couldn't have been.
Shot? Yeah, it must have been because the doc disappeared. Doc was shot. And he went through.
Well, yeah, for certain bits of it. All right, yeah, I'll let you have that. Yeah, for bits of it, he might have had a tripod, but that's again questions why he invited Marty along, right?
Well, that's why
Hear me out. This is what I'm going to get at, because I've come up with a theory, right? So, Marty has gone down, met him. The Libyans have turned up. They start shooting bazookas and RPGs, right? Totally unnecessary, right?
Oh, I don't know. It depends.
In the middle of suburbia, right?
How the fuck did he get him?
He jumps in the time machine, Marty, because he's just seen Doc get shot, right, by these nutters, right?
Yeah.
Ends up, oh no, travels back to 1955 and meets his parents, right? Now, chain of events, the movie plays out.
Yeah.
Things do get changed, right?
Yeah.
Meaning when he gets back to his present day, right? Slightly different, right? Everything's changed around him, right? Now, my theory is that...
Well, he didn't do anything major.
No, he did. Yeah, you see, this is the thing.
To
you see.
himself he did, but not to anyone else.
My theory is that Marty didn't have, a relationship with Doc.
Yeah.
He stole the time machine by accident. Yeah, right?
And Doc
had
needed to bring him back.
no way of getting home. Yeah, right? Because it's all fucking set up so well. He's got this flyer in his pocket that tells him when the lightning strike and everything.
Yeah.
Now, Doc, first time round, couldn't send Marty home. The guy had to just find a new life and live out his life back in the 50s.
Yeah.
Right, but Rat with Guilt, he makes friends with Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking, this time around, I'm going to give him the tools, the time and date of the lightning strike. I'm going to give him everything he needs. So when he meets me back in time, I can help him this time. I can send him home. Yeah,
that's
right?
how I would have thought the Doc would have thought.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's thinking ahead.
He's thinking ahead, right? So then Marty comes back in time. He plays it out, but his life's changed in the future, where now he's got a rich, successful family.
Yeah,
he's better off. His brothers and sisters are tolerable. He's got even his girlfriend's changed looks wise. Yeah, right.
You've already checked.
And he's got a brand new truck.
He might have changed other people's lives through that, for the good or for the
Of
worse.
course he did. Well, he changed Georgie's life by giving him the confidence to stand up to Biff. That drastically changed his life.
Well, it changed Biff's life as well.
Was this a product of a new timeline being created? Because effectively what Marty's done there is he's killed off his original parents who raised him, right? Told him off for burning the rug, all that, right? You know, this is the family that he used to sneak out the house in the middle of the night to get away from, know. Couldn't handle the fact that they wrecked the car and he couldn't go on his date. Didn't seem too thrilled with his family. And now all of a sudden they're totally different people. So was that a new timeline? Because it makes me think that Doc knew all this. Doc knew that Marty was going to change things. And what Doc would have had to do was travel to that future of that timeline and kill Marty, who owned the truck, who had this, in a bit of a Rick and Morty move. Yeah. That seems to me the only logistical way, because it still answers those questions, and they even prove it in Back to the Future 2 by saying, we were traveling, Biff got hold of the almanac and basically created an alternate 1985 where he's rich and powerful. All the rest of it, they tell you point blank that it created a new timeline.
But I thought you could, when you, in the concept of jumping your timeline, we'll be jumping into another multiverse and then jumping into another one. You couldn't go back to the same place.
You could definitely not return to your point of origin. I don't think you could.
Well, you'd have to go through all...
In terms of, I think we've covered this in previous shows, where in terms of time travel, if you were to try and with multiverse jumping, if you wanted to kind of jump from one multiverse to another, and then return to your point of origin, you would never do it, because it'd always be a degree out. And I think the DARPA people were saying that when they were doing experiments, or it could be kind of like getting mixed up here, but I don't think I think in terms of returning to your original point of origin, it would always be a slight degree out. You would never get to there'd be slight changes, and this kind of comes into...
we're messing with forces that we don't really understand.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, in terms of like time travel, it's there's a lot of different avenues that you can kind of explore, and nobody's really 100% sure what.
Ask more questions.
Exactly. So I mean, so going back to the Future, I think in terms of what they're saying about how time travel operates is exactly the same as Endgame. Yeah, you're creating branch alternate realities where one action plays out a whole new reaction and a whole new chain of events. Yeah. Whereas I think Doc knew more than what he let on, because even though, he wore his bulletproof vest.
What, you're saying he's somewhat like Alien?
No, I think that wasn't his first rodeo. Yeah, I think the reason why all those things happened to the Marty we watch in the film happen is because Doc set it up to happen. I think that Doc was fully aware that Marty was going to steal the time machine, or not steal it, but be in a situation where he went back to 1955.
Yeah.
Because he remembered it from the original first time round.
Yeah.
In a position where he wasn't able to help Marty, but maybe he tried to help him and he killed him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then Doc was stuck with the time machine in a failed attempt of sending this boy back to his time in an invention he's apparently invented. Yeah. The guilt of that, wouldn't that make him befriend this family and try and, steer this boy in a more positive direction?
He's sounding more like...
He seems obsessed with Marty in the films. It's like, I've got to go and help you with your kids. I've got to get you on a better timeline. I need to help you, sort your life out. He seems too obsessed with
his family.
With that boy and that family to...
Could he have been in for the future, or maybe. Could he have been his son from the future?
It's quite an interesting one, because it's like I say, it opened, and once I kind of came up and thought of that, it opened it up, that character up a lot more, because it made me think of, there's obviously scenes in the films where Doc goes and does missions on his own, and he comes back, and he's like, I've just popped to the future, something's got to be done about your kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, he's been on a reconnaissance mission to find out what's going on in this lad's life 30 years down the line, right?
Yeah.
So it stands to reason that he's got this vested interest, and there's some reason why he's kind of doing it. So from me, it makes me think that this parallel universe, or sort of paradox was created where he had to try and fix it, and that's why everything's so easily, conveniently placed throughout the film, at least the first film. I mean, the first film, you could argue that it's all causality, like equal actions, changing a butterfly effect. A butterfly effect, you change one thing and it's going to have
an effect later on.
But I think when you get into the second movie, it starts shifting into that branch timelines, alternate realities.
Funny enough, where you was just talking about that branch timeline, I was just there like doodling a branch timeline, and I decided, what if on that branch timeline I wanted to go right all the time?
But that's the thing.
On the right hand side timeline, could I go back to my original timeline? Could I go back on myself?
Oh, I don't know.
Because if you're looking at a spiral, if you have a line, put a line to the right hand side, then put another right hand side, then put another right hand side.
Well, it depends how time works, and if you want to go down the Doctor Who route, with wormholes and temporal schisms and all. I don't know. Probably get shot by a Doctor Who fan. But what's the space beyond the wormhole called in Doctor Who? Because I mean, obviously, Bill and Ted, very similar again. It's
empty space, is it?
Well, void space, I suppose. Yeah, and like you've got this space, you're traveling through a rip or a tear or a wormhole in time space.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, they seem to operate on a causality sort of effect as well. So does the hot tub time machine. I think when wormholes are concerned, they go into this realm of causality, and that equals changing things and being able to travel. Because actually, that would make sense, because if you were in a wormhole, right, then that's a direct bridge, to a point in history. But then your own personal timeline.
Well, it bends space, but I don't think it bends time.
Your past would still be your future, if you like. I hope people are following this.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, there's possibility that it definitely bends space because it's the old trick of bending a piece of paper and putting a pen through it.
Oh yeah, but that's how they explain wormholes, and like that's just a theory, isn't it? It's like, well, yeah, if I was able to fold the universe, I'd be able to get from point A to point B really quickly.
Yeah. But the thing on that is, would time? The only thing is that you will reach there in a quicker time, but would time actually change between that? Or round over this side? Or would it be 9 o'clock here now and you've sent someone away, 9:05, they've reached there. Is it going to still be 9:05 here, or is it going to be like 3572 over there?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because I think we were talking about we've been talking about kind of a dimension where time runs backwards.
Right, yeah, there's a piece in the news that I could bring it up now if you want.
Well, yeah, if it's relevant. I mean, like I think in terms of time and how it's perceived, it's all theory and it's all kind of, I mean, when they say it's relative.
Yeah.
But, the thing is, it's like, it's relative to us, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why it's eluded us so much, time travel, because we look at it on an earthbound scale. We're not looking at it in the big picture.
Yeah.
Time to us is one rotation of our planet, right?
So time to an ant is going to be a lot.
Holy shit, yeah. But
different.
That's what I'm getting at. It's like it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
And we're not.
And your life cycle
we're looking.
as well.
Maybe we need to look. It sounds stupid. We'll think a bit more outside the box.
Yeah.
But like in terms of how time operates, is an hour to the people in the International Space Station. Right, I know they'd go off Greenwich or they'd go off kind of like, Earth-bound time.
But slightly slower.
But that's what I'm saying. The further you go out, you're not bound by any time restrictions. A day on Mars.
Milliseconds. I mean, it means nothing. They did like
No, but this is the thing. It's like an Earth year is totally different to, say, a Jupiter year or a Saturn year.
Yeah,
there's different rotations and different amount of time it takes to orbit the sun.
Yeah,
so,
now we're going to calculate that when we actually go out in space and we actually
that's what I'm saying.
Expand out.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's like, well, how does time enter into that factor? Because once you travel out, what our concept of time is no longer relevant. Yeah, because we're all operating on a different scale. Now,
well, in
maybe
a way,
that's
time
why,
isn't relevant.
That's what I'm saying.
Aspects,
is this why time travel is eluded us as a species? Because is it a case of that we've not reached that?
I don't think we've reached that point
where we're able to go, do you know what? We've been thinking about it all wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah. It can quite easily be. It's quite simple as something being a wave to a lighter beam. It was
everything's a wave. Everything's a wave. It's all vibrational waves.
Waves or light.
But even light travels on waves.
Yeah. But
you can pin everything down to vibrations, and that's what everyone, they go on about kind of, it's all this hippie nonsense. Yeah, but seriously, think about it. Everything travels on waves. Everything depends on waves. Even the tides. There's so much that consists of like vibrational energy. Yeah. You want to fucking look into it. It's crazy shit.
Yeah. But it's
get my vibe on, baby.
And then you haven't even considered the quantum realm yet.
I love how you say that. That's so good.
Realm.
Say it again. The
quantum realm.
Easy.
Quantum
realm, boys.
Yeah. The quantum realm. Yeah, because everything that we understand as in matter, as in physics and everything else, once you reach a certain part down there, it's all out the window and it's all... Of
course, physics doesn't apply, and it's like because a physics that we know, because our physics
can't understand
it's like I mean, going into like that timelines and paradoxes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's like by meeting yourself. So again, right? So in Endgame. Yeah. They go on a time heist to try and retrieve these stones, meaning that there was two of the same people. So obviously Captain America has a bit of a fight with himself and he can do it all day.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like, well, you've just created a new reality where you thought yourself, did you do that the last time? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but then it was put in a different reality, not your reality.
But you've already created a new branch off. Do you know what I mean? Where I remember this.
Well, no, because what you're doing is you're jumping into someone else's reality for a little time to do whatever you're doing and then going back. But even would the object be the same?
Well, could you argue, is that a time heist or is that a dimension heist? Do you know what I mean? Because you're basically saying, no, well, I'm not jumping in. I'm not jumping into my timeline. I'm jumping into another dimension where the same sort of things were happening. And how do I know that if I was jumping in that dimension, that the thing that was different was that the stones weren't in the place that I thought they'd be? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, if you think about it,
then, haven't you?
Yeah, but that's the risk that they had to take at that time.
They strongly word it as a time heist. They say that it's a time travel. They are going into their timeline, right? So it proves the point that if Captain America fought Captain America, Captain America from the present would remember, right? But he'd be able to preempt it. He'd be able to say, I remember this. Oh, it's all come flooding back to me now. Yeah, I remember
but would
fighting
it really
myself.
Matter? By the end of it, would it really matter? Because if I've gone into a time heist into your...
So it is a dimension. It's a dimensional heist then, isn't it? It's not a time heist.
Well, yeah, but then he'd have to go back, wouldn't he, and give the items back into that time, because otherwise you've left that time heist with none of them elements.
Well, this
that
is
means
the thing.
No
I mean, you've got
and
yourself a time GPS or whatever. But
you're wiping out one of your timelines.
But again, this is the thing. It's like you've got to return these stones back to its original point of origin. How the fuck are you going to pinpoint that particular moment? Or is it a case of that... Oh, well, I suppose it'd be pinpointing that moment where you took them so it didn't branch off.
But probably one of your the brain box of the fucking hour in someone else's timeline could turn around and go, I know how we can do it.
Yeah, because we've done this before.
Yeah,
exactly. But they're not going to, because they're explaining time travel as in, no causality. If I could go back and kill my parents, right, which is the grandfather principle. Obviously, the grandfather principle is if I went back in time, or the grandfather paradox. Yeah. If I went back in time and killed my grandfather, I would not exist because my grandfather couldn't have spawned my dad, who couldn't have spawned me, and therefore I wouldn't have been alive to invent time travel, so I couldn't have gone back and killed my grandfather in the first place, right? Yeah. Now, the new principle on time travel says you can totally do that. If you want to go and kill your grandfather, because your future, is your future. If you're...
So you're starting a new timeline. But then
exactly,
even
but
then,
that's it.
Do you reckon it's a good thing to ruin that timeline?
That timeline doesn't matter to you because you don't live there, right? What I'm getting at is...
So it doesn't matter just because you don't you're not in it no more.
You could experience the fact of being in a new era, living in your past, which is essentially your past. It's just an alternate version of your past,
you
right?
You fucked up the rest of your path on that line.
Up until the point where you change things, if you just maintain observation and go there as a sheer observer and change nothing, interact with no one, just go to watch JFK get shot or go to watch a moon fucking landing or whatever, you get away with it. But as soon as you start changing things, that's when alternate timelines come in, right? Just the fact that you're there at all could do that, right? But...
the thing is, if your future's already been told...
No, it hasn't.
Already been written.
It hasn't.
Yeah, but we don't know if our future...
Well, you don't, and this is the thing, and this is the thing what you were talking about, which makes me thinky, because if time's running backwards in an alternate reality, which you think you've got a bit of information on, then that says that... because that's running backwards from the point of the end of the species, so therefore your life is planned out for you. You can't change anything and everything's inevitable. Do you know what I mean? Like Thanos, I'm inevitable.
Anything can be I mean, they say that everything's going to be played out. If there is a dimension
where time's running backwards, then that means nothing I do in the future matters because it's already written. Decided and written somewhere.
We were discussing that before.
Now, that to me says that there's no, what's the point? There's no free will because it's an illusion of free will because I've not got it, because you're telling me that my life's already decided and that's it. Whereas I can't change things. And what I'm saying about time travel is, it's like if I wanted to go back and do the grandfather paradox, for instance, then I could perfectly do it because I could travel back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which would be me traveling. The act of me traveling back in time is my future, right?
Yeah.
So I've travelled to a point which is still my present.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I'm in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still my present, right? It's
Yeah,
still that same timeline. It's not like I've broke the timeline. That is still my continuing forward timeline for me inventing a time machine.
Yeah.
Travelling to the 50s.
Yeah.
Killing my grandfather.
Yeah.
And coming home again. Yeah. So, and if I'm able to get back to my point of origin,
but the
then
problem with
it's
that
like
is,
there's no need. My grandfather's still alive.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, how the fuck have you been born then? You must have come from a different generation.
In another timeline,
family.
I won't be born because I've killed the guy who's supposed to spawn me. But my
do you
timeline,
think that's right, that?
my grandfather did produce my dad and did produce me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that's right?
No, it's not. And I don't
like
advise people to go around there killing their alternative selves.
Yeah, if you got a time machine.
There can only be one.
And if you have got a time machine, just pop there. No, he's not there. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is it.
But you've also got the other concept of I can't. Oh, fucking blank.
Come on.
Yeah, no, because my mind's like racing on different things. Well, anyway, the actual news that I had was NASA announced that they believe they've found ultimate universe that time runs backwards. And the reason why they've done this is because they've sent up a balloon above Antarctic, and they found they're looking for high energy particles.
It was neutrons, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's right.
And the high particles will hit the surface and die off, but the neutrons won't. They're like ghosts; they go right through. So they've got no matter, so they just run through like ghosts.
It don't matter.
But they found a certain one that's called TAU neutron.
And I was wondering what that stood for.
That's actually its name. I just can't say the fucking
that
name.
awesome
TAU.
Awesome thing we found. Yeah,
Tau. Is it Tau or something like that?
Yeah, Taui.
Yeah, neutron, which actually is reversing and coming back out of the Earth, which they're calculating that means that an ultimate universe is throwing something back, so it's reversing.
Yeah, like in backwards, like in Red Dwarf, but where time runs backwards. But that's like I say.
So our timeline's already been written.
But then there must be. But then again, there's a nexus point there. There's got to be where where these two timelines intersect. The point where we found out that there's this alternate backwards universe, and the alternate backwards universe where they lost the knowledge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then we
discover it, they lose it.
Yeah, exactly. But they should have known for millions of fucking years beforehand
that this was coming.
Yeah, that we were
exactly.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
they
never reached out. Well, maybe it was. Maybe they did reach out, UFOs. And this is it. And now it's our turn to start reaching and probing them.
Yeah.
And they'll be going, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, we're more likely to invade than anything.
Well, you see, there's a plenty of kind of, I mean, what's your favourite kind of time travel movie? In Terminator? Or...
Terminator is a good one because it's got action, and the likelihood of that is, there is a possibility.
Now, Terminator does hinge on causality, and basically saying, yeah, man, if I go back in time and I kill the John Connor's dad, or kill John Connor or kill Sarah Connor or whatever,
it just doesn't add up to me about the
it's going to stop the uprising.
It just doesn't add up.
So. What do you mean, the grandfather paradox?
It just doesn't add up.
Well, no, all right then, right? You've just got to think of it as you're not going to change because this is the thing, right?
No, but you cut as soon as you kill that person, bang, you've cut yourself off. Bang,
okay, right. So think about it this way, right? Do you know the end of Back to the Future 1 when Marty Mcfly comes back and he meets his parents again, and they are alternate parents? They're not the parents that he was brought up by. Yeah, right. Now. they recognise him as their son, but he's not the same boy they knew 5 minutes ago. So where's he gone?
And where's his mum and dad gone?
Well, they're there. They're what he's wrote a book.
They've changed.
They've changed
because
exactly.
he's changed their ways.
But
the
therefore, so what you're saying is Marty
therefore
McFly,
he might not have been brought up the way he was.
That's
brought
what I'm
up.
saying. So he's a totally different child to them now, and they're totally different parents to him.
Yeah, but would he be that when he come back? Because he knows what's gone on.
He knows what's gone on, but that's what makes me think that Doc Brown has killed alternate Marty McFly, because even in Back to the Future 2, when he goes back to Biff Mansion or whatever, Biff says to him, "What you doing here? You're supposed to be in Switzerland, you little punk." Right? Which says to me that there is an alternate Marty McFly in Switzerland at boarding school. Right? That's proof. He says it, in the movie. Right? So at the end of Back to the Future 1, when he goes back to this alternate reality, there must be an alternate Marty knocking about who's happy and lives at home with his successful parents.
Well, it can't be, because he went back to the 50s,
where
his parents were just
getting
starting
to date.
You get me?
Right.
But then, Marty was not even an idea, so Marty couldn't have been in that lifetime.
Later, no. Yes, in fact, you're totally wrong, right? Because basically what they've done, he's gone back in time, he's interfered, almost didn't get together, but he fixed it, right?
Yeah.
They still went on to have 3 kids, right? Marty, his sister, Lorraine, whatever they're called, right? Yeah, fucking forget what the other 2 are called, not important.
Don't matter,
right? Well, no, they just had them, at the same time they always had them. That's what I'm getting at. They've still got he's still got a brother and a sister when he goes back.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is there's no alternate Marty. And there should be. Because in Back to the Future 2, there's an alternate Marty. He's in Switzerland at boarding school. But the other Marty, where's he? It makes me think that Doc knew all about this the whole time.
No,
and he's had to go out there and take out this alternate Marty in a sort of Rick and Morty style.
Well, no, because in the first one he's gone back in time. In the second one he's gone forward in time.
Yeah, but he still goes back in the second time. But that's what they do is they go to the future. They get an almanac which is like got all the sporting information.
Yeah.
But while they're in the future, Biff steals the time machine. Goes back to 1955, gives Biff the book with all the bets. Right, so when then returns the time machine without them knowing, right? So from their perspective, they've not even kind of, it's not gone anywhere, right?
They don't know that.
They only know something changes when they return back to their time, 1985, and everything's a mess.
Biff runs the world
because Biff's created an alternate timeline. An alternate timeline where Biff had control. He married Lorraine. He sent Marty off to boarding school where he never met Doc. Doc was committed. So the whole thing never played out the way that they expected it to. You can't. So it says to me that if there's an alternate timeline and an alternate Marty in Switzerland, then there's definitely got to have been an alternate clean-cut Marty whose dad's an author and whose mum's slim and all the rest of it in the first film, right? Because that's the way that otherwise the 2 movies operate on 2 different laws of time travel, right? And I hate to pick it apart like this, but
you're also forgetting the idea of that you can't go time traveling until you've built the machine. So from that machine, from the time forward,
yeah, well, that's another concept, isn't it?
And you can't go backwards. But then again, there is an idea of someone's come out with it.
Well, they say it's like if it was a river, you'd be able to get off and on at different junctions in time.
Yeah, but then you're fucking up.
Now, I know you were having trouble with the grandfather paradox there, right?
Yeah,
because you've just got to think of it as your timeline, right?
Yeah, but now you've just basically taken a big chunk out of your timeline now. And like gone, right, this doesn't exist.
No, it's
but I am existing.
Okay. Think about it as in locations rather than time. Yeah, right? So you get on a bus, you travel from Manchester to fucking Leeds, right? Then you get
Leeds.
Well,
nice place.
Lovely
actually.
people in Leeds. Right? So you get the bus from Manchester to Leeds.
Yeah.
And you do a full journey of the north.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You do a nice little fucking a
Circle.
busman's holiday. Right.
Oh, I have to sit on a bus for that long.
It's exactly the same thing. It's like you've got to go on that journey from point A to point B to point C.
Yeah.
Right. Like your life. Right.
Yeah.
You go from your you toddler days to your teens to your young adulthood. Yeah, and you go in an order, right? Now, your present is always your present. You're living in that moment, right? And your future's always ahead of you, right? So whatever happens in that future, no matter even if you were to somehow find yourself 5 decades ago in the past, right? That past now becomes your future. Yeah. So no matter what happens, you can't change anything because it's already happened. Do you know what I mean? And if you do change anything, then that's the branch timeline. It won't affect anything that happens in your future. Do you know what I mean? Now, you could influence the past by going back and saying, like Biff did, and saying, here you go, here's the lottery numbers.
Well, influencing is different to changing.
That's what I'm saying. Well, you can influence it into
like
the same that you can poke it. But
again, you can poke it, but
again,
if you killed the person
it doesn't work for the person who's...
The DNA trail.
The thing is, it doesn't work for the person who's implementing the plan. It works for an alternative version of them, so your life's never going to change. Just like Biff, he went back in time to give his younger self a book, right? When he returned to his future, right, to return the time machine, it wasn't the future of Biff's Hill Valley. It was the present day that Marty Mcfly and Doc originally travelled to.
Yeah, but that's because the Doc had to go and fucking sort it out and then he come back.
Yeah, I know, but you'd think that if it was that future of... If it should have changed around them, if that was the law, if causality worked, then it should have changed around them into Biff's society and Biff's vision of the future.
They got ahead just before Biff. So they knew how to...
No. Biff changed things and then returned to that point where he stole the time machine from. Yeah. So therefore, it shouldn't have been... They shouldn't have even been there because... But that's the paradox.
This is another paradox to it.
That's what I'm saying. Biff's life didn't change. He wasn't suddenly a millionaire when he got home. Yeah, but a version of him would be. Yeah, not him personally, but another version of Biff would definitely become a millionaire because he's given him the means to be... Yeah.
So hold on then. So basically what you're saying
not him.
is you'll go to a different alternate universe in a different timeline, kill the grandfather, come back to your ultimate universe on your timeline and keep everything the same.
Everything should
nothing
be sweet.
in yours should be changed then.
You're only affecting...
So you're basically going into time, killing someone in someone else's timeline, coming back.
My way of understanding it, if I went back in time and changed anything, I'd only be affecting another version of me. I wouldn't be affecting me personally. Yeah, I could kill me family and there'd be a Gary Duncan out there who'd be very sad about it, but it wouldn't, and I'm sure I would feel some regret. But it wouldn't, when I got home, I'd see a version of my family still there.
But then that's wise to get rid of them timelines then? Well, is it wise to get rid of that timeline of you?
No, because it's funny because if you believe in this theory,
then again, you're
right,
creating a new one,
then you're creating every time you think up something, you're creating a new timeline because
but no,
every
because
time
that
you make
timeline
a decision,
you won't have. It'd be a timeline where, let's say, all the branches of the tree, you're the timeline. Okay. You are in every one.
How many people in the world today?
What was it? 7.3, something like that.
7.3 billion people, right? All of them wake up in the morning and go, what should I have for breakfast?
Yeah.
Cocoa Pops.
Well, first off, the morning will
toast.
be different around the world.
Yeah, obviously, but we'll get into this. But everybody wakes up in the morning, no matter what time they wake up and go, should I have breakfast cereal or toast? Right?
Fish.
In one reality, they had toast. Yeah. In another reality, they had breakfast cereal. Yeah. Right? Every single action you make
makes it
supposedly creates a new outcome. So it's like people who land on their feet really fucking like magnificently and like get everything they want in life. Yeah, right. I've made decisions or been born into or something's happened in their life that has kind of made it slightly better. it's
That
you
is
know,
a ton of energy.
if you could harness all those decisions and take the, you know, if you had a blueprint at birth saying, well, you know, that's a market. If you could use time travel like that and say, here's all the key moments in your life and here's all the ways you could go wrong.
But then
if you
this
stay
might be
clear
like the
from
Matrix.
these decisions, then you would have a rich and successful life.
But this might be the thing of like the Matrix, because if we're going down certain computer lines and following certain
you could
lines,
it's algorithms, isn't it? I mean, you could pick out like key
because it's
moments.
a lot of power. If you think about it, it's a lot of power. Right, our timeline, like
spooky.
our universe has just been split again and then again and again. Every time you speak, you do an action.
That's what I'm saying.
You are splitting,
you're splitting it up into more. And,
so you're talking billions within seconds of.
Well, this is always since as though we're talking about it. This is a kind of another theory I've got about multiple universes and parallel universes, about how things don't exist in the universe until they're observed. In terms of like your personality, you've got a Mr. Taylor there sat in front of me.
Ooh,
now in my universe, in my subconscious, in my conscious mind, then you didn't exist until I met you. Yeah. And now there's a version of you living in my mind with millions of other people who've met and people who've been in there. Yeah. And like,
which it puts it more to the Matrix.
If you brought 10 people in this room, there'd be 10 alternate versions of you in the room, because everybody would have their own version of you or their own sort of mental image of you. Yeah. Yeah. And you have one of yourself. Yeah. Yeah. So, are all these parallel universes an extension of our consciousness?
Yeah, well, yeah, to be honest, we haven't mentioned the consciousness along the board, because it gets split. Does the consciousness get split?
Well, yeah, I mean,
and has it meant to, or has it meant to not go that way? And that's why the way we go is like sort of fucked up.
Yeah, well, think out there. I mean? There might be a Taylor out there who is actually good looking.
Hey, fucking cheeky bastard! I'm here, mate. I'm here.
I am that Taylor. Where is it?
Prince is here, man. Yeah.
Well,
hell yeah.
Fucking hell. Well, it's a bit of an interesting topic. I think we could talk about it for hours. This, but like, what are your theories out there? Tell us what you think. How does time travel work? I mean, personally, I do kind of I think the idea of the many worlds and kind of like branching off timelines is really appealing, but it starts getting messy. Yeah,
it gets messy easily.
It starts getting messy and very kind of complex. I think that these it's a power that they've yet to understand, and there's so much more to it in terms of time and how we perceive it.
Yeah, because even tribes even tribes to this day state in the past that they've had travellers through time and stuff like this, and it's like
it's got to be possible.
There's I mean,
since when have we not made science fiction science fact? We try at least humanity. You know what I mean? We're still not cracked the overboard yet. Talking about Back to the Future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There
was a lot of stuff that we got let down by. Do you know what I mean? By Back to the Future prophecies. But in terms of Back to the Future as a scientific theory, I think they got it not bad. Yeah, I think in terms of, I mean, Endgame say that the bullshit. Yeah, but what the fuck does Endgame know? I mean, it's good film and all that.
Everyone has
you can't just commandeer a time travel concept and say every other film's bullshit. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, because until you prove it, you cannot.
There's a hell of a lot more movies. There's a hell of a lot more theories that subscribe to like other time travel theories. Like we say, like I think Back to the Future does a bit of everything.
String theory, that everything's made out of loops of sound and waves.
String.
And
like we go through time. Cheese.
We go through time every second of every day, because it goes through us, and every one is a different timeline.
There's also theories about how time is all happening simultaneously at once. Yeah. And how we've not even touched on paradox properly yet. No. I mean, in terms of loops and stuff like that. But like Looper, the movie, which I never watched because I don't like either of them. What's that guy called? Didn't he used to be in a boy band?
Oh,
Timber Snake. I'm sure he's in it. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But like these, knowing the future as well is a kind of a thing. You like, you go into stuff like
Is it good or not to know
Minority
it?
Report. Yeah, like
but that's Minority Report that's how you show how it can be used in the wrong way, and which
Definitely.
will be
Like
more than likely the way that they will
knowledge.
use it. Yeah.
Having access to prior knowledge and being able to kind of
Israel are using that kind of service
on things you could have done.
Yeah.
Like
you can be arrested for in certain countries now
this is
for
the thing.
could have done.
It's like you're arresting me for what I could have done, but like there is a probability factor at play that says if the many worlds and branched off timelines does exist, that your computer's got it wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your computer could be looking at a possible future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not necessarily the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might change your mind at last
You
second.
cannot account for human fucking divering, basically.
Querying as well, because you're querying.
Well, you've got a right to change your mind, haven't you?
Yeah.
Basically. Now, I think in terms of like, film theories, I think like they all hit on some pretty kind of.
I think they've all got the points and the good views, but
that's
I also
what makes
think
them a
you've
good
got
film
the bad
as well.
But
What's bad? I mean, there's a few people out there who will say Hot Tub Time Machine is a bad time travel movie.
I
like it. I've got to admit, I actually
better.
kind of find it quite funny. I think they should take it further, and I'd love to see a third one because I really want to know what happened in Cincinnati. Do you know what I mean?
What happened in Cincinnati?
No one knows. He keeps a shoebox.
They're going to have to.
But yeah, time travel movies. I've watched a couple of interesting newish ones with some concepts.
Okay.
Now, these working on that principle again of branched off. There's a good film called James versus Himself. Yeah. Or James versus his future self, and basically he's that concept
evil or something and gets
that concept of like if we invent a time machine, we should totally visit ourselves at this moment and say hi.
Well, there's the same thing as well as if you can't be in this, you couldn't touch.
Yeah,
yourself.
but why not?
But it all depends on
it's like matter meeting antimatter.
It depends if you've gone into a multiverse, then you could. But if you were in our universe, then you couldn't.
Well,
because you can't have the same matter in the same area at the same time.
But you could get around that, but depending on how far back, because they say that like over a period of times, your every atom or molecule in your body's changed.
Yeah, by the age of 10, everything.
Right. Okay. So you could totally go back and meet your 10-year-old self.
Well, yeah. Effectively, yeah. It depends on like you've got to consider the soul as well, because it'd be the same soul.
Soul.
Yeah. So you've got to consider all them.
Soldier, we
elements.
will be.
I mean, we don't know because we don't. We don't know.
True that. We don't understand. This is all the shit that we don't understand. So tonight's episode's been totally, fucking
useless.
Useful is the
That's
word.
The word.
In terms of like, well, time travel, we don't quite understand
ideas,
it.
Isn't it?
The soul, don't quite understand it. Doesn't matter. We're going to talk about.
Could our brain take it?
We don't quite understand it.
That's another thing. Could our brain take it? Could our actual bodies take it?
Well, this is the thing, because he's already been DARPA have said that they've effectively used time travel. They've been back numbers of times, right, to certain events like Abraham Lincoln's assassination, the Gettysburg Address. Those types of places, and if they went back on several occasions to especially Lincoln, I mean, he claims that he was running into versions of himself, as well as his dad from another time period who didn't remember.
But was it a multiverse? They might not even know if it was a multiverse or not.
Well, you wouldn't.
For all they know.
You don't know. This is the thing. But I think it was Bashago who said, you won't ever get back to your original point of origin.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more you might skew off your curve, if you like. Do you know what I mean? So
and that's why I was saying about if you did that, could you come back in your own time?
Well, I don't think you can, and that's what kind of cements that theory
Not
of
if you've got loads of
multiple tears
and like billions at a time. Then you'd have to You'd have to, as soon as you land, you'd have to go.
I mean, it's not to be kind of, I mean, I'm not a believer of the Mandela effect, but it kind of, I mean, there's a lot of kind of effect that they are messing with time, they are messing with parallel universes and dimensions and stuff, and the things are getting a bit warped.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, maybe, but, you know, it's one of those where you can't really say that it is, or is it just people misremembering?
Fucking going on.
I don't know. I mean, could we have, like, different dimensions or different timelines butting up to each other? And maybe this is why we get stuff like... I tell you one thing, one time travel kind of concept that appeals. Tears. Yeah, tears in some sort of, like, you know, portals, like some sort of...
Could you put that under wormholes?
I'd say you could do.
Because of the idea of...
that it's one point to... you travelling from one point in space to another point in space.
Yeah, but more like when the sun's hitting the Earth, or the energy hitting Earth, there's supposed to be four wormholes that they've been looking at.
More so that if you go on the idea that all time's running concurrently at the same time, it's...
Why wouldn't it? But then again, you have to have
the future, the past, and the present. It's all happening at once, right?
Well, if it looks like from NASA, it says that it reverses as well. Then the timeline on every multiverse may be different.
Well, true. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. I mean, it could be the case that if all time's happening at once, and you've got different points of time happening in different multiverses or different realities, or planes of existence, then. You find one of these tears or portal wormholes, then you're not travelling back in time. You're travelling to an alternate dimension, where you basically find yourself in the 1940s, for instance. Do you know what I mean? Like that,
true,
that BBC sitcom, Good Night, Sweetheart.
Oh, yeah. But I kept going back to the 1940s to a pub,
he was able to change things in a causality sort of way, so he was able to kind of like maybe
give a little tip here and there.
Actually saying that though, because he was a lot of times when if he did actually try and change things pushed
dramatically,
or didn't go very well. Do you know?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you don't know that. I mean, it's a long time through your timeline to go back, do something to hopefully do something for you and your family, and go back to where you originally come from. That timeline, let's say 10, 20, 30 years, is a long time for the timeline to change again. And if you did that, does that mean you've started a new timeline that could ultimately come back on you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it's like...
like I was saying, if you go left all the time and you did that, you would have to at a certain point come back
But it depends because it's infinite.
Timeline.
It's like, you know, you're not an NASCAR driver. You know, I mean, the fact is, it's like...
No, but time's a funny old game, isn't it?
Time is, I mean, but the thing is, it's like, I'm not sure that... I mean, it's like Quantum Leap, isn't it? You'd just be bouncing around from reality to reality, trying to hope that you'd find one. And then when you did find... I mean, imagine you travelled... You get lost in this kind of bouncing from alternate timeline to alternate timeline.
Yeah.
To the point where when you did get back to your timeline...
Yeah.
It was like... Is this even right? You'd be convinced.
Yeah, you probably pass.
You'd probably fucking no. You'd probably go mental just fucking trying to convince yourself that it was. When you'd be looking at things going, I'm sure that's different. Yeah,
but then if you had the chance again, would you jump again?
You'd be questioning yourself. You'd be questioning whether this was the original place you came from. Are these the people who raised you, or am I going crazy? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because the mental health on that is just going to be.
I know. Don't, and especially you go into a doctor and tell him that.
Oh, don't think I think you end up fucking going.
You definitely get subscribed some tablets.
If you kept jumping from one place to another and you're finding different events, and I mean, not all of them are going to be great, you know what I mean? Most of them are going to be probably
Well, that's what
terrible.
happened to me. Yeah. I've been bouncing around and I got here and I went, this'll do.
Ziggy went here, fuck it.
Back
keeping you staying here, mate.
Well, that's it. I think we've discussed it to the length we should, and we've got the news to go, and we're running out of time. So... on that note, I think time travel theories, if you want to get involved and talk to us about your theories on time travel, get in touch. Yeah. You know we love to hear from you.
Yeah.
You sexy people. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Got some news.
We have.
And we do it like this. It's the news. And in this week's news, we've scoured the news, we've scoured the web, we've scoured the broadsheets to find you the best and latest news available in a week that shown kangaroos reclaiming the streets of Australia, the crazy scenes that's been happening in Minnesota and the United States, and the UK waking up to the ease of lockdown rules as it continues to ease. Is it too soon?
Oh yeah.
Well, we start the news this week with a story about obviously coming apocalypse, the end times, and thousands of bugs have appeared all over the beaches of Yorkshire. They've swarmed. These insects have swarmed over the parts of the beach in Caton Bay,
nature fighting
near
back.
Scarborough. Sue, who lives there nearby, came across the scene when she was walking on the beach on Monday. She said, I was out doing my usual hours exercise and I walked along the beach and I could see what only looked like tiny little seed pods.
Sounds cute.
It was usually, it's unusual for the beach. I've never actually seen anything like it before.
Or
and I was actually looked closer and there was some sort of beetles with wings.
Right.
I posted a
Does
picture.
she actually know what they are?
When they got home. No, well, experts have had a look into it, but the basically a statement released on Tuesday by Scarborough Coast Guard suggested that the bugs were European, is it Kaffir beetles, usually only found in mainland Europe. And the statement yesterday afternoon, whilst the team were on coastal patrol, a member of the public alerted them that they'd seen something strange on the beach.
See? Well, that's meant that just perfectly hits on my news on that as well.
Go on.
Because we've had so many different varieties of birds come back to...
This is what I'm saying, with kangaroos and stuff reclaiming the streets, sheep are reclaiming the streets.
Pelican that hasn't been seen in Britain for 600 years.
Have they not?
No.
Well, how did he know? I mean, one of them might have flown by and just no one's seen it.
No, well, there hasn't been seen.
There's not been a sighting of one.
Fair
enough.
600 years.
So what's brought them back?
Quite easily.
Just
nice. All gone indoors.
And we're not bothering them.
Plain and simple. They're trying to gain back the race.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's like, it's nice to see all these animals.
Well.
I mean, they must be kind of thinking, what the fuck's going on? This is our opportunity, boys. Let's have a look around.
Let's fight back. Let's get all together.
Well, I'd be interested. I mean, because like I say, it's all about having the nerve, isn't it? And it's like, if you're a moose or a sheep, and you've always been a bit put off because there's always too many people around, and it's like, I don't really fancy going over. Yeah. Now all of a sudden it's
I can get into them bins.
I can get into the bits that I wasn't able to get into a bit before. I'm getting a bit braver. And I think you'll probably find, even when things start to ease up, you'll find animals who'll be like, oh shit, sorry, I didn't realise I wasn't allowed here.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think we're going to see a lot more pictures of wild animals in cities and towns and that now.
Definitely.
Yeah, for at least when we start going back to...
like I say, I think there's been a fox in my bins. There was pizza remnants all over me back garden this morning. And I went out and I went, oh, foxes.
Didn't like the bread though, did it?
No, just at the toppings.
Yeah, well, fussy.
Fussy buggers.
Yeah.
Is that it for that story?
Yes.
Well, I've got another one about a bit of an animal.
Oh,
this fella, he stole... he stole 126 flip-flops.
Oh, what?
Because he had a fetish.
What?
A shoe fetish, and he wanted to have sex with him.
What?
There you go, that man. So the story goes, a man has been arrested in Thailand for allegedly stealing his neighbour's shoes in order to have sex with him. Therapist Kaya. Oh, is it? Therapist Kaya is his name.
Oh, right.
He needs a therapist by the sound of it. 24. Had a fetish for flip-flops. And he found that basically he acquired 126 pairs and pinched them all from the locals around Thailand.
So he didn't even buy him, he just
he was stealing people's flip-flops.
Kinky.
So he'd been doing it he's been collecting them for more than 2 years. And he says he wears them around his home. And but then he was basically...
Then plays with them.
What?
Then plays with them.
Well, he wears them around... Yeah, that's exactly what he does. He walks around the house with him, and it turned him on. The police claim that he allegedly told officers... I've got a better story after this, mate. This is nothing.
Just walking around in flip-flops.
Just, having sex with him.
The fuck?
Not nothing, is it? So, yeah, listen, I'm not finished, right? So, he allegedly told officers that after several hours of wearing the flip-flops, he cuddled up, kissed them, he'd strip off and rub them all over his body before having sex with them.
What
Police said his collection included dozens of different brands, sizes and colours. All well worn, and a vast array of footwear was laid in front of them.
Would you touch him?
I wouldn't. I'd be getting a fucking...
nowhere near
I'd be getting bomb squad in to get rid of that fucking bounty. So,
treat it like a virus, man.
Have you got anything you want to slap on that?
Oh, yeah. Trump announcement on China.
Oh, well, be quick.
Just beforehand, basically, he is announced right from now that the WHO
we ain't playing.
They ain't getting 450 million a year from America now. They're stopping it because China, for years, has been only paying 40 million.
Right.
And they've been getting away with a lot of lucky. Basically, they're getting.
Well, he said,
didn't
he? He said that there was an issue with the WHO being very China-centric.
Yeah,
and that they were withholding information on the request of China. That because China was being like very China-centric, that apparently America invest more money than anybody. Yeah, because America do everything.
They called them cheats, liars.
It called them all sorts, and basically said there was going to be an inquiry into whether they should fund them or not. So they were going to cut the money. So now he's basically saying that that's happening.
Well, basically, he's saying that he's putting them under special measures to any other country because they've lied, they've gone back on agreements. They're especially for the world when they've gone back on the agreement where we've still got 27 years of China being Hong Kong being one place, two rules.
Yeah.
Well, he's going on that.
Well, that's
about
it. I think with everything that's going on in Hong Kong at the minute, it's fucking ridiculous. It's like,
I think they fucked themselves,
you know what?
Basically.
No protesting now. You're not allowed to do that. No, you're not allowed to do... No, none of that. Put that down.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it sounds like all the big countries are turning around and going...
We're being herded. There's been a lot of herding going on at the minute. Yeah. But this is the thing, isn't it? There's a lot of countries saying they're not using China. I mean, is this going to be kind of the starting point for something a bit more kind of drastic?
I think either agreements and something gets sorted out, or there's going to be a concentration of fighting, and I can see. Yeah. Because they've grown the bollocks so large, and they do not care.
It's true.
And it's a case of, there are consequences for your action, mate.
Well, the thing is, it's like, exactly. You can't go around just doing what you want and being a bully. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that goes for everyone. That's just, like...
Well, yeah. But he's even stated that with this virus, it's come from Wuhan, and no other part of the country got it. And they still let people go out and... A
little bit of an interesting tidbit for you.
Yeah.
Grimsby. Do you know sister towns? Yeah. Do you know people talk about sister towns?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, do you know where Grimsby's sister town is?
No.
Chernobyl.
Fucking hell.
So, I found that out, and I thought that was quite entertaining.
Yeah.
So, for Manchester, who's Manchester? I know I always thought it was St. Petersburg. Yeah.
What, with Manchester?
Yeah. For years, I thought it was St. Petersburg. Well, it turns out, I don't know, for some reason. Uh-huh. If I'm right, let me know. Or if we've got more than one.
Well, you're nearly there.
Well, turns out, Manchester's sister city, Wuhan. Oh, we got so much in common.
Yeah.
We got all our wet markets. We got them stacked.
Yeah, wet markets.
We got fucking loads of fucking rat, dog, chicken, whatever you want.
They need health and safety over there, but
definitely, someone in a high vis definitely needs to go and clipboard up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we
Anyway.
should send the council over and sort them out.
So, yeah, is that you done with that?
Yeah, well, basically,
He's Trump's basically come out and started throwing his weight
basically
around now.
special measures with
Special
China.
measures.
Yeah. The agreements like that they've all been going back on, and like so. Yeah, look out, China, because
Well,
you got
there's
trouble
a
there.
lot of people backing out from stuff like this. Huawei in the UK, I mean, there was something about...
Rightly so.
Well, obviously, Huawei, though, it's a government-owned company, and they were not very happy with the investment they've put into the 5G thing, and now... Well,
they're
it's
threatening
a
countries.
rod for their own back, really, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
if they were a bit more health and safety conscious, then the world wouldn't be in a pandemic, and we'd probably be going ahead with it, because we wouldn't have had to furlough our entire population to fucking cope.
Yeah.
You know, and if we
You're gonna pay
have,
one way or another.
and obviously we've got billions of pounds, that have gone to the public now because of that,
And millions of people are dead.
unfortunately, we're not in a position to be putting out a new network at this moment.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So one
All
of
the
them.
countries have been developing. They're not as far as them, but they have been developing.
Well, I've got one more story before NASA news, which is quick before we run out of time.
Yeah.
But this is a great story. I think you'll agree. A pair hired for a man's sexual fantasy turned up at a bedroom at a wrong address with machetes. So, after appealing for an unsurprising... basically after appearing at an unsurprising resident's bedroom with a knife at 6:15 a.m. in the morning, a duo accepted their mistake by saying, "Sorry, mate."
What? Well, saying like you're going to kidnap me with a fucking knife and then walk out and say, "Sorry, mate."
So two men snuck into a bedroom with machetes after being hired to carry out a stranger's sexual fantasy of being tied up in his underwear and stroked with a broom.
Kinky.
Only to discover that they'd got the wrong address.
Oh, that is
Terrible.
Any charges are out?
We're going back to Australia here. So, we'll get into this. So the pair from Sydney, Australia made their apologies and left the startled victim's bedside. But as soon as he realised the mistake, one of the men, Terence Leroy, has now been acquitted of entering a home in July 2019, basically saying that he was armed. He was charged with being armed with an offensive weapon and basically being intimidating with it.
Yeah.
After a New South Wales district court accepted his explanation for what was going on.
Good job. The other couple turned around and actually said, "Yeah, that's what I wanted him to do."
Well, he was asking me where my broom was. Well, considering the facts of the case are unusual, the judge sent, basically sent him home with a not guilty verdict, saying that the evidence did not suggest that his actions were intentional.
Yeah.
So
he was going out to play with a fucking machete.
He said the carrying of the machete was either a prop or something he used in fantasy play.
Only a question on that, was it sharp or not?
And the fantasies were unscripted, so there was no sort of description on how they would be carried out.
Go in there and beat him around the head with it?
Yeah, maybe, if that's what he said. It's unscripted, innit? So according to the court document, the man living in Western New South Wales wanted a broom handle rubbed around his underwear.
Kinky sod.
Kinky boy. Well,
there are some fruities out there.
Takes all sorts.
It does.
It takes different strokes to make the world go round.
It does.
As someone
different
once
strokes
said.
for different folks.
Well, there you go. Moving on to NASA news.
Yeah.
As we say, it's been Orlando's, Florida's May 31st or May 30th launch. Launch America.
Yeah.
NASA astronauts were strapped to the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule early today. At Cape Canaveral in Florida, and prepared for a historic liftoff at 3:22 p.m.
I missed it on the way down there.
That's Eastern time. Heading towards the International Space Station. The launch would mark the first in 9 years that the mission has actually had crew on board and launched from American soil. NASA and space fans were disappointed on Wednesday when the first attempt was called off due to weather.
I watched that live, man. I couldn't believe
was
it. About 10 minutes
was it just called off due to weather, or what was it? Because we watched an explosion. I think one of the SpaceX things blew up.
Oh yeah, a couple of hours beforehand in South Texas, they was doing.
Oh, is that just a test?
Yeah, they were doing a ground test on it, and it actually exploded.
Oh, right, because when they said, "Oh shit, we're calling it off," and we've had an explosion, that makes me think that that's the same event.
No, everything went safe because it went today, didn't it?
Well,
and
it was called off for weather, but they've waited nearly a decade for this milestone, which is basically the return of human space flight from US soil. SpaceX have also requested Tuesday the 2nd of June. See, I told you Tuesday was the 2nd of June.
Was it?
Yeah, see?
Oh, right, you might be right.
There you go. NASA basically, just in case of bad weather, and the launch attempts are abandoned today, which they weren't, so well done. But even up to the last minute, they were like, fucking hell.
Yeah, because the weather changed.
We don't know,
so
is it going to cancel? Fucking hell, there's a breeze.
Someone farted and it fucking smells.
But I'm not even joking, though. It was so fucking Buck Rogers, mate, that whole thing. It was like the spaceship looked like you'd expect a spaceship to look like.
I like the spaceship, that one,
The spacesuits were pretty snazzy.
Yeah, they can move better, I think.
They looked a bit Kubrick.
Yeah, but wait until they go out. Into
this is one giant leap for man.
They're going to have another space.
One small step for mankind. What are they going to say? I want them to say something. Well, they're not going to say anything, are they? They're not stepping on the moon. No. They best be saying something good when they step out onto Mars. And watch, it'll be cheesy as fuck, mate.
Yeah.
You can't improv it like Armstrong.
Yeah, I can't even think. Welcome to the red planet.
Oh, it's red. Mate. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, welcome to our new home or something. Probably.
You'd be sat in there thinking, right, now, God, don't fuck this up, Neil. Don't fuck this up, Neil. Yeah. This is one giant moon.
You just could do it, Steve.
It's one step, man. I fucked it up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, slip on the first step. Fucking hell. I fell down and first on the
first
planet.
hurdle. Oh, that's on a fail video straight away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Fell out your capsule.
But it'd be never forgotten.
Oh, it wouldn't, would it?
Yeah.
It's like, remember when
Remember when that knob fell? Fucking hell. All he had to do was step down 3 fucking steps.
Well, ow! I hit my back. Anyway, right, that's it. I think we've got, shout-outs. We haven't got any shout-outs today. Apology, because I didn't do them. But big shout-out to everybody who usually listens. Yeah. Big shout-out to our patrons, Jay, Swoosh, Dunk, and Jesse G. Yeah. Thank you for all your support.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done it without you.
Hope everything's going all right over there,
But if you want to help us out and get a shout-out on our Patreon section, we'll be giving shout-outs all the time. But, if you want to help us out on Patreon, get over to patreon.com/neverastraightanswer and help us out over there. Yeah. You can also follow the link in the Amazon description.
Yes, you can.
And, do your normal shopping. We get a little bit in return. It's all good. It's all gravy, baby.
It's all gravy.
Also, we're available on all podcast platforms. If you want to get us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, we're there. Just search Never a Straight Answer Podcast, and I'm sure you find it because you're listening to us now. So fucking hell, what am I talking about?
Well, yeah.
So, anyway, if you want to get in touch, email us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com, and we're available on the website at neverstraightanswer.co.uk.
Yeah.
Plus, Twitter, NASA_never. Get us in touch there. And we'll see you next time. We got to go because we're running out of time.
We are.
I fucking could talk for hours. Anyway, I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
And we'll see you next time for another episode of Never a Straight Answer. Peace
out.